Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in, much appreciated. And today I'm going to show you guys what I consider one of my all-time favorite, sort of secret, forgotten, fall-time crankbaits that just don't get fished much anymore. And I'm going to give you some tips and techniques on when and how to fish them. I think it might be interesting to you guys. So before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping tips. And as far as these housekeeping tips, guys, I know that a lot of you guys think they're pain in the butts, but they're necessary, because if it wasn't for all this type of stuff, we wouldn't be doing any YouTube videos at all. So it's just sort of part of it. So little housekeeping to begin with, just trying to remind everybody, if you guys are interested on any of my on the water lessons, just shoot me a private message on my Facebook page. I give on the water lessons all around here, close to where I live here, Table Rock, Stockton, all that type of stuff. I can give you the info on that. And also, please check out fishthemoment.com. All of our lake map breakdowns, got a bunch of good ones coming out there. And stay tuned for the seminar I'm talking about, the full 8-hour seminar Johnny and I are going to do in person, Springfield, Missouri, October 2nd. We'll have more info on that as soon as it comes out. But I hope you guys can book a little bit of time for that. Okay, let's talk about the forgotten crankbaits that I'm talking about. This particular category of crankbaits has been around for, man, probably 35 years or so. And I'm talking about the Zero Crankbaits, like the, everybody's familiar with like the Man's Baby 1-. This is the Zero Crankbait profile. This happens to be a Storm subwort here, and this is the Mega Bass Zero Griffin. As you can see here, the thing that makes these baits unique is the lips. Lips design on them, straight down, and they're designed to run less than a foot deep. That's the where the name 1- came in. So a lot of times, this is such a super productive bait that a lot of people for some reason, it's just sort of faded by the wayside. And I don't really understand that, because it's still one of my top producers, particularly in the late summer and the fall time of the year. I think a lot of people got locked into the deal that it was sort of a deal for shallow grass, because a lot of the initial success on the Baby 1- came around shallow milfoil, shallow hydrilla. That's where it sort of came in. But I catch fish on these baits all over in different types of cover, different type of water clarities this time of year, in the late summer, in the fall, and into the fall. And what I look for on this is the bass. Normally this time of year, you're going to have a population of those fish, about half the fish in the lake, that start to move shallow. And sometimes they move extremely shallow. If you have a lake that has like less than 2 foot of visibility on it, and you've got any type of, diversity and cover, whether it be docks, stumps, lay down, shallow grass, water willows, that type of stuff, you're going to have a population of those bass that move into really shallow water starting in September. And in my opinion, this is one of the best ways to catch them, is on the Zero Crankbaits. All the stuff that you guys fish as far as like buzz baits and spinner baits, shallow running crankbaits, and that type of stuff, whenever you're on that type of a bite where you're trying to target those fish that are in less than 3 foot of water, this is one of my top choices right here, because you know why? They just don't see it very much. It's a subtle bait. It stays high in the water column. It's almost like a topwater lure. So I've rarely seen the time that if you're on a particularly like a shallow buzzbait bite, shallow spinnerbait bite, that you can't, sometimes even outproduce it, or at least pick up some more fish by going to the Zero Cranks. So a couple different keys tips I want to give you here is, first of all, the areas, like I talked about, don't get locked in thinking you have to be on one particular area. I've caught good fish on bare banks, off of any type of wood cover, grass cover, around docks, just on bare points, wherever, anywhere where I feel those fish will come up on a bait. Because basically these Zero Crankbaits, they're like a topwater, because when I fish them, I throw them out there, I keep my rod tip low, and I try to wake the surface with it. That's the whole key for me on this bait. And this is one big secret I'll share with you guys on it. You don't want to fish this bait where there's no wake to it. So if you fish it, if you have your rod tip too low to the water where this thing runs actually 4 or 5 inches under the surface, you don't get near the bites as you do if you hold it low to just a mid angle and stop and go with the retrieve, where you have some type of a wake. It's almost like a moving wake bait or a subsurface wake bait. and that's when they hit it the hardest. And the thing that I always equate it for, and the times that I decide when I want to fish it, is I let the buzz bait or frog be my telltale sign there. If you got a lake where they're biting a frog or a buzz toad or a small buzz bait, popar or something like that, where you know those fish are in skinny water, just give this thing a try when you're in that same areas, because a lot of times if there's any bass in the area that are not aggressive at all, they will hit these zero cranks when they won't hit anything else. And water depth, I've caught them in a lot of different water clarity. I've caught them in a lot of different water clarities. I've caught them, one time I was catching them at Lake Dardanelle. It was chocolate milk. The water visibility couldn't have been 2 inches, and I was catching them. And I've also caught them up at Lake Champlain where the water visibility was 12 feet on those cloudy, windy days, that type of stuff. Rainy, windy days. So there's a lot of different situations where we'll hit these things. So anyway, guys, just a quick tip, give them a try, pull out these zero cranks. I can promise you this time of year, you'll get some bites on the thing. You know, just throw them anytime you're fishing your buzzbait, spinnerbait, shallow cranks, give them a try. And, you know, they'll put some more fish in the boat. I'm pretty confident for you. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. Much appreciated, and we'll talk to you later.